Good morning. Happy Monday. How are you? All well? Good morning, Thakur King. Good morning, Devesh. Good morning, Hari. Hey, can you ask her to join quickly? Good morning, Mani. I need dedication like money. She always try to join on time. Hey, good morning, Pratik. Pratik, can you ask her to join quickly? Sir, good morning. Good morning. Who else? Good morning, Deepak. Good morning. Mohit Rajput, good morning. Shiva, good morning. Ashwini. I think we are good. Happy Monday. So, do you have anything to discuss? Whatever we discussed this Saturday? In the they are asking very critical business logic scenario questions. What should I study to build business logic? Please help. Okay, can you tell me your good morning, Nareem, your experience, your expertise? Can you type your name here? Dynamic 365 CRM B9J. Your, logics or your concept will increase based on, your implementation, whatever, what types of implementation you have done, and even how you have, think how you can achieve this scenario so that you can get more clarity on those logics. But can you type your experience here? Yeah. 4 year, I don't think so. They have to go for typical business logic. It should be straightforward actually. Yeah, but it totally depends, like based on the interviewer uh, and the expectations what they are looking for a candidate based on the project need. But I don't think so. For 4 year of experience, they have to ask that level of questions or queries. Maybe Mani, can you share your questions? Maybe in last recent interview, maybe if you have faced any interview, just try to record somewhere, maybe in your mobile, and note down all those queries. all questions. So and you can share here, so that at least we have latest set of questions queries, and we can increase, uh, maybe information, we can increase each other knowledge, and we can help here. Yogendra ji joined or not? What about Lokender? Where is Lokender nowadays? Sure, it will help actually. Okay, so today we will try to initiate very good chapter, very good topics related to as a technical perspective. First, we will try to initiate, or we will try to build the basic JavaScript concept and why those concepts are needed, and meanwhile we will understand the architecture of the forms, and uh, we will try to tell you like how many events we have, how many trigger points we have, when which particular scenario we have to add as part of this particular items. Okay, so let me share my screen so that I can tell you. Yogendraji also joined. Okay, here. Okay, so today we will try to achieve here. We will start for module 9, client scripting, Java scripting, and commands. So in these particular topics, we will try to cover, especially for developers. If you want to make your career as a pure core dynamic CRM developer, so now you have to be joined here in this particular section, so that you can understand, maybe the basic things related to dynamic crm, related to javascript, but you have to understand the best practice here. You have to be understand like even one person, anyone can here write javascript code. Even if we can give a good prompt, we can take that information from the ai level. But if we know how to add that prompt, we can get that particular one. But suppose if we want to debug something, it's very difficult to fix that issue. So we have to understand where we have to write that code, in which scenario we have to debug this particular code, and how to fix this particular issues. So ready with full energy here. Yeah, Steve, good morning. So okay, no query, no questions. Okay, let me close all other window here, and maybe we can initiate here JavaScripting part. Okay, so do you have any idea like why we have to use JavaScript? In which scenario we have to write JavaScript and JavaScript architecture? Let me reload it. It is taking some more time. See, you have to be understand very carefully, like Suppose if we need to write our JavaScript, so we may have multiple different approach here. One approach is, suppose I have to write some uh, logic here. So how to take a decision, like I have to write that logic in the JavaScript side or business rule side, or I have to write any logic from server side. So if you understand the terminology or requirement, what is the purpose to write our code in a JavaScript side only, so you can understand better, in better way. So I will tell you, like, suppose I have given that similar example maybe in our past uh, discussion also, but you have to be have that information. So suppose in journally, try to understand all those concepts. So generally, we have some situations, some scenario. So when we have to write JavaScript, so to writing JavaScript, we may achieve mostly everything with the help of JavaScript. It is not like we have some limitation. We have some limitations, but it is not like we cannot do any everything. We can do. We can even create uh, record, we can update a record, we can delete record, we can retrieve, we can fetch, we can do everything with the help of JavaScript. But when we have to write our logic, either we have to go for plugin code, either we have to go for uh, JavaScript level code, and even we know that we have to write some JavaScript, so we have to follow some standard process here. We have to go for that one only. It is not like we can do anything. Like suppose if there is one function, there is one requirement, we have to write some code, and we have to define our function only. So we can define our function here. If we have written one function, we have a requirement for hide and show some field, even we are going for a JavaScript. So it is not like I can write a function and then function name, and then maybe get account details. Maybe execution parameter I can pass here, and I can even write my code here. So there is one option like we are doing, and even I have other option like I can even copy paste this particular one, and I can paste, even I can write multiple function inside one file. And here maybe one I can write two, because I should have a uniqueness. There is no execution error, but actually if I have written some logic or a function in my JavaScript file, and if it is declared more than one place with the same name, so there is no error. But whenever code try to get that information, so it will look, hey, so it will look, and if it will find this particular information more than one place, so it will create a confusion for the code level. So in the same file, you should have a uniqueness. So there is a one way to write multiple function inside one file. Okay. So then what is the process here? What we have to follow? So we can do, Microsoft also accepted this particular methodology, but as part of best practice, what we have to go, we have, why best practice comes into the picture, because we have to maintain or we have to manage our source code as well. If we have to maintain or manage our source code, so our code should be in such a manner so that anyone can understand whatever we have written. So the name of that function, it should be proper. So it should be self-explanatory. So to write a function, I hope you all understand the function, or you want me to explain from very basic, like what is the function here, or how to write a function. Function is nothing a unique logic whatever we are trying to implement, and we have to add all those logic in a block, and we can give that block name so that we can reuse that particular our logic. So you understand reusability from last section. Why? Because why we are creating the functions here? Because we can reuse those functions. If we have that logic, like we have to write a complex logic, and there are some specific place we have to call some specific information from the backend, or maybe from CRM. So what to do? We have to call our logic, or we have to write our logic in such a manner so that everyone or anyone can understand. So this is one way we have to write our JavaScript function. Another things I will let you know. So be okay. First, I will tell you how to architecture, or how to design our code. So best practice is, here we have to write a function name in such a manner so that we can understand, anyone can understand, like what is the purpose of this particular method. Also, similar way, we have to write some variables. Variables, like what is variables here? Variable is nothing where we can store some information. Correct. Even if we have to use Node.js, so it may be go for server side as well. But here in dynamic CRM, if we have to use that JavaScript, so mostly we are using this particular code as client side, because it will run at the client side first. Even if we have to perform some card operation, so maybe it can go for server side as well. But it will run at the server side, client side. What is client and server side here? Client and server side. So suppose here we have, let me open here that. So suppose there is some principle. Let me try to use some image, and my drawing is very bad. Okay, this, maybe we are from science or mathematical background mostly, so we can assume like anything. Suppose this is database, right? Where we can use, we may have different shape. Okay, suppose DB applications, and maybe this is client side, or maybe browsers, we can say. So suppose there is a request come from client to application side. So there is a communication between application to, let me try to use, So, and there is a another. So this is this is client. Client is nothing like we are using or we are calling our application. So we are calling our applications like here we are using our browsers. So this is client side. Here we are using this browser as a client, and whatever we have application or database server. If anyone have any background related to on-prem environment hosting part, so you have that information like we can install our application here in the app server, and in database server we should have a database SQL server. So here we are accessing this application from this client. Client is either it could be a Chrome, it could be a Edge, it could be any extension or any application where you are accessing your application. So whenever you are running or you are accessing or you are requesting or you are performing any action from here from client side, there is a request go from client side to application side. So if anything which is running in this particular location, that is called client side. So first we have to run our logic in our client side. So suppose if we have to send something to the application server for any request, and again there is another communication between application to database server, that is a connecting between application and the DB server. So anything which you want to do, any logic, any specific part in this particular client side, maybe browser side. So I have given some example maybe in past. So suppose there is a some judiciary hierarchical position. So what is the judiciary or any government related judiciary system here? So judgment system is nothing like, suppose if you have you have faced any problem in your life, and you reached or you called any police, and you have to write some application, and you have to register a file, and you have to go for different suggestions or different issues which will be handled by judiciary system. So there is a hierarchy in judiciary, like Lok Adalat, maybe in Jilla, in the district level, and then maybe in state level, and then High Court, and then maybe then Supreme Court is there. So why this particular hierarchy is there? Why? Because if you have to send, suppose if one person slap to another person, and uh, then that particular fight, you have to register a case to that particular person, and then you have to go to the directly Supreme Court. Hey, this person beaten me. So is there any possibility Supreme Court or High Court they can listen you directly, or what is the process here? So they must ask you. They have to. You have to go for your local judiciary system. First, you have to register your case in that place. Then it will go step by step in different stages. Why? Because if you can handle or that types of issue you can handle at lower level, so there is no burden in this particular app level as well. So if you have handled something, some issues in this particular client side only, so load will be decreased in the app level. Similar pattern we have in this judiciary system. If any small case can resolve at the Lok Adalat or maybe in district Adalat, district place, so the weightage or the what we can say, the dependency of the upper court will decrease. So similar manner, what types of issues we can resolve at the client side? One example I will tell you. To generate a lead, we need to pass a lead number, mobile number. Why? Because without having mobile number, there is no, or mobile number or email id, there is no need for that particular lead, because we cannot do anything if we don't have mobile number or email id. So if user is entering those information in CRM level, so we can ask or we can make those field as mandatory. That is one option. Otherwise, if they want, no, no, that information, sometimes some information is are coming from other application as well. So we have two options. At least for our CRM side, we have to validate all those information before sending those information to the server side. So that small issues, small validations we can handle at the client side itself. So anything, any information which we can bypass or we can sort out before sending that information to the application level, we can go for client side scripting level. That is the one thing that you have to take a decision, either I have to go for server side validation or client side validation. Why? Because it will reduce the application load. Because every time, suppose if something is failing, even I can write that logic in the plugin side is as well. Hey, if mobile number and email ID is not mandatory, we can throw a error. That is per mandatory task. But why you are sending those types of requests which you can handle at the client side? It will reduce the application load. So suppose if in my system I have approximate 20,000 lead created in our system, and I have 10,000 such types of requests which are, application is refusing. Why? Because the data is not proper. So why I have to receive that level of information which are not completed? My client will have to be handle those filters first. So whatever we can do to reduce our application load, I can go for client side scripting. Understood? It could be validation, it could be sometimes some different types of operation. So suppose if I know I have to do some action in the client side only. For example, I have to go for approval process, and user need to perform a button click approval action, and he has to handle or he has to perform everything in the client side only. So I have an option. Even I can perform certain update, insert, or create, or modification, or delete permission also. I can do with the help of JavaScript itself. But suppose if something which we cannot handle through the UI itself, something we have to be handle those information at the server side as well. So I have given one example like mobile number and lead information we have to handle at the client side. Okay, that's fine. We can handle here. But there are some integration also. If suppose there are some lead are creating from the any third party portal itself, we have not written that level of logic even in the application level itself. So then again there is a problem, because that integration is coming from any other application. We means as a CRM developers, we have not done that level of implementation. So that types of request we have to handle in the plugin side or server side code. Why? Because we don't want to add those types of data here which may create any issues, which may create any problem here. 1 minute. So suppose here we have to write such logic in application level itself. And because this is dynamic crm, it is not like we have any option to write any validation in the database level itself. Suppose some .NET or some different types of developer, they can ask, hey, why we are storing or why we are managing everything in the application level? We can control that validation at the database level itself, because we have written many, validation in the database level. Microsoft never suggested go for any such validation which you have to trigger or which you have to implement at the database level. That is a limitations for either on-prem level and even online level. Even we don't have any direct option here to perform any database level. So we have two option only: either we can go for client side or we can go for server side. So server side, we have to write those level of information which we are thinking like we cannot handle some information in the client side, or we are not giving that level of UI where we can handle those one from the client side. For example, integration part, or suppose maybe in import export, suppose we are getting like, hey, user is using this client side data entry, not only client side data entry, they are not using this application only, dynamic crm application, like they have to create any record from UI itself. They are not creating from here, they are using uh, bulk import. Bulk import means here, if we have to write JavaScript, so we have to open the .NET, this R UI. So to perform any JavaScript logic, we need that action. We need a trigger point so that we can control anything in the UI level. So suppose I will give you one example. In one of my tasks, I have given a task in my team like, hey, I need to calculate, some of the uh, validation or some of the automation in the lead level. Lead level means, sorry, not lead level, in the opportunity level. So I have a requirement in opportunity level. I want to calculate all the associated quotation line amount, and I need to sum up, and I need to update that one in the UI level. So what happened? Suppose I will give you the more details in the next session, like how to write the basic JavaScript function, but we will try to understand the basic need so that we can go for detail. Like I have an opportunity entity. In opportunity, I need to get a total amount from which particular place. So I have a child entity like opportunity product or codes, code or code line item. So code level, a opportunity may have more than one code. So any code, if we have a amount or total amount one, and then amount two, for amount two for record two. Similarly, maybe amount three. So amount three means there is a field. Suppose I have these are the line items. So suppose we have 200, 350, and maybe 400. So I need to add all those amount into this particular place. So So I need to display that one in the opportunity level, and these are the opportunity, that quotation line item amount. So this is record 1, this is record 2, and this is record 3. Amount 1, amount 2, amount 3. So my requirement is very simple. So I need to display the sum of those all, either if I'm going to add one more amount field, amount for field means a record. Suppose this is 500. So I need to display the sum whatever I have here. Maybe wait. Likewise, so what happened? One of the developers, what they have done, they have written a JavaScript function on load of opportunity form, and whenever a record is creating in the quotation level, if they are opening this particular form, so what he did, he has written one logic on form load. So whenever they are opening that particular field, they are setting this particular information. Is that correct or no? They are doing that calculation, but the calculation also correct. But is this correct implementation? Yes or no? And what is the drawback here? I hope you understand. In the opportunity level, I have a custom field, and I need to showcase all the associated child record, sum of this particular amount, and I need to display it. So the developer did one implementation. He has written some JavaScript code associated to this opportunity. He has retrieved all the associated quotation, and he did sum of the line item amount, and he set that particular amount here on form load. What happen if we have written this particular implementation? What we have to do? Any suggestion? What is the mistake developers has done? Even he has written the proper code, but what happen? What to do? Suppose if a person is added, or maybe a line item are adding from backend, what will happen? Suppose there is a integration, or a person is adding those line item from backend, or a person is doing import export utility. So what will happen here? Can you tell me what is the wrong with this implementation? Any idea? So you have to think about that. Suppose if something is happen in the backend, some job is returning, and they are adding or they are pushing the quotation line from backend. Maybe there is a integration between FNO and dynamic CRM, and they are creating some information or that quotation line from backend, and those are keep adding. So this particular calculation will happen only when you open that opportunity record. And because you are setting that record, so there is a unsaved change, it will show in the form level. So if we have approximate 10,000 record, such 10,000 record, so what will happen? Either you have to open that opportunity record manually, and you have to save it, then it will work. Why? Because your logic will work on form load of this opportunity. If something is adding from backend, there is no calculation. Understood? Any doubt? Clear? Not clear? Okay, so my intention here is to explain this particular requirement, because it could be from backend side. So JavaScript will not trigger, or you have to ask your team like, hey, can you open this record and then save it? Then it will work. Otherwise, this calculation will not work. Or I can ask my team member, you have to write a plugin code on the quotation line. Whenever you are creating or you are updating this particular amount, you have to update to the associated opportunity level, and you need to update this record from the plugin or server side code so that it will work in every place. So whenever you are creating this record, it will automatically update in the parent level opportunity. So that is the correct implementation. We can write our JavaScript code, but you have to think when we have to write or which particular place we have to write our code. So that maybe you have written the correct logic, but you have placed this particular logic in wrong uh, place. So we can tell like this is wrong implementation whatever we have done. Understood? So now comes into the main thing here. So JavaScript, you have to understand, you can write some validation, additional validation to reduce the application load, and what types of information you have to retrieve, you have to write. So in the JavaScript function, you have to understand first, like if I need to perform some logic in the JavaScript side, so I should understand like suppose if I need to write or I need to read form level information. So I have some architecture, JavaScript architecture. I will tell you. JavaScript architecture, if I want to showcase. See, here JavaScript architecture, what we have here. How to read authentication part, maybe I will tell you later. See, this is the architecture diagram. Open it. This is main architecture diagram. You have to understand like if you want to get some data or you want to read some information from the form. So this is the form architecture, whatever we have. So suppose this is the form context. This is the object here in the dynamic CRM. So form, if you are able to get this form context object, then you can perform below action in the CRM. So how to get this form context in dynamic CRM? That is the first primary objective of your JavaScript day-to-day activity. If you are able to retrieve that form context, you are the boss of that particular form. So you are the boss of that particular form means if you have that form context, then if you need to retrieve some information, so you can retrieve any control like form context dot ui dot control name, and that you can read anything. So like if I need to retrieve any form this particular value, so how to retrieve that particular value? So I know I have that form context. if I need to retrieve any form that particular information. So form context, so this is here. If you want to get execution context dot form context, see here, if how to retrieve that form context. So this is the way, like if you have written this particular logic, i I told you this, in this particular manner you can write some logic function do load. So here you have to pass this execution context. How to pass this execution context here? So here if you have written this logic and this particular code, if you have written and you need to pass one input parameter, and you have to pass this execution context, and here pass execution context as first parameter. So in this particular manner you can pass the object of this particular form. So to retrieve the form load here, how to retrieve that form context? So I will tell you how to even get that particular form context. But this is the architecture diagram here. If you need to retrieve any form, quick create form, or any form selectors, or any items, or if you need to retrieve any tabs, or you need to retrieve any tabs or any sections, and under that section you need to retrieve any controls. So you have to go that form context dot ui dot tabs dot even the tabs name and the section name and the control and the control name, and even you do the control for each loop, even in the tabs level, even the section level, and even the controls level itself. And even if you need to retrieve some attribute level information, so suppose if I need to retrieve any field level information, so here you can open this execution context, form context. Here you have data, you have attribute, you have control. I will expand all those information here, and here how to get that information I will tell you, right? So how to retrieve all those controls and how to get the multiple level of information, but you have to understand this particular architecture first. If you are able to retrieve this form context, then you can retrieve the attributes. What is attributes? Attribute is nothing. All those controls, we can say these are the attributes. Topics, first name, last name, job titles. So if you, there is some option, either you can retrieve those data or you have to set those data. So getting some information or setting some information, you need to understand how to get that information or how to set that information. All those information if you are able to retrieve, that is fine, but there are some controls or the those here, these are the here extension you have to install. You have to go for two extension. This is level up. You have to search level of extension, and you have to install. So you need to write or you have to install this level of extension. It will help you while doing the development part. Like what is the benefit of those extension? If you need to retrieve the logical name of those particular one, so how to retrieve those one? So you can use this extension and you can click here logical name. So you can get those logical name like subject, first name, dob. So like suppose if I need to write any database script, like any I need to write any store procedure, any view. So what I have to write, I need to go to the database level, I need to retrieve the schema name or the actual name of that particular database field, and then I need to write either select query, either update query, or any get query. So similarly, if I need to perform any logic, so I need to retrieve those schema name first. How to get that one? Either I have to go to the entity level, table level, like lead level. So it is not like we have to do only this particular way. You can go from database level, you can search here, and you can open, and you can check column name here, and you can retrieve based on the display name itself. Understood? So likewise, either you can go for extension, like you can open in the form level and you can get all those information from the form level itself. So you have to slowly understand the architecture. What is the form context? So this is the complete form context with the help of this object. So if you have to perform any action, so this is the first point you have to understand, like to define a function, and you have to pass a execution context parameter, and you have to get this execution context dot form context, get form context. So this is the object name you have to get to perform any logic, and how to set that particular how to pass this execution context. Whenever you are calling this particular function, you have to pass that function, and you have to select this particular checkbox. So you are pass execution context as first parameter. So likewise, you have to pass this parameter. I hope we can initiate all those items from tomorrow in details. But this is the very basic part you have to understand. Does schema name and logical name both are same? This is the naming convention only. Naming actual schema name, it will, sometimes what happen, it will, suppose if we are creating our name here, I will tell you. Suppose I'm writing display name is FIRST, first name. So logical name and schema name. Schema name will always here, maybe there might be some prefix. Suppose there is a new prefix new by default. And here FIRST first name and new underscore FIR first name. This is the name only, but sometimes some scripting there is a naming convention, name that case sensitive. Like sometimes if you have to write some scripting, if you are writing this particular scripting in this particular manner, so it will ask for this particular scripting. So it's better if you are creating display name and this schema name, both should be same. So maybe in the schema name, it's recommended you have to use both information should be same name. So whenever you are creating a field, you have to make those field as lowercase only, so that both should be same. Understood? Maybe we can discuss all those points in details tomorrow with practical example. But you should understand in initially when we have to write this particular code. Tomorrow we will cover like, hey, we have to go for designing a basic JavaScript function. It should be a naming convention should be proper, and our JavaScript function or JavaScript should be written in two separate file. Why we have to write our JavaScript file in two different, you know, JavaScript file? One is for ribbon library, one is for form library. Why have we have to go for that one? So I will explain you after creating a small file, and we can go step by step there. Right? Hope it's clear for everyone. Do you have anything to discuss here, or we can connect maybe tomorrow? Today is Monday. We have some additional responsibility. So maybe we can wrap up for today, and we can initiate from tomorrow, and maybe try to join at 10:30 a.m. sharp, so that we can utilize our time more efficiently, more effectively. Okay. Thank you everyone for today. Let's connect tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.